and Reds, Neil Atkinson and John Gibbons in the confession box on Marlborough Street. What a boozer this is.
It's brilliant, isn't it? But when you text me saying we're going to the confession box, I thought, look, I know Belfast was rowdy, but I didn't think I had to go and see the big fella. But bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's an exceptional pint of Guinness.
It's an exceptional pint of Guinness. It's an exceptional boozer, and I think we're connoisseurs of this type of thing. I'd like to think you'd take our word for it. So if you haven't been here and you're coming in for the match on Saturday or something like that, if you can make your way over here, you'll have an absolutely blinding time. It's a lovely, tidy, tiny little gaff, which is, the Guinness is terrific. The bar's brilliant. The bar staff of the business were made up to be here, to be quite honest with you. I've already done one in.
And very quickly, before I'd even arrived, and I wasn't that late.
I'm trying to keep it under because we're on stage tonight.
Yeah, we are. We're Button Factory in Dublin. If you're still wavering, Belfast was amazing last night. Really good fun. You know how to do a Thursday night in Belfast, which is a relief. But it's Friday night in Dublin, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So if you're in the vicinity and you're still not sure, yeah, come down. Got the boys from the day trippers as well, haven't we, Steve?
Got some day trippers, lads.
So yeah, should be good fun.
We honestly can't wait. We're going to have an absolute ball. Stuff's coming out over these days, John, and for me it's interesting the idea that how much money we're trying to recoup now as well. You're getting to see that big time. Ingredients, looks like he's going to be going to Palace for 24 million plus add-ons, and Liverpool are standing really, really firm on this. And I think there's a bloody mindedness about Liverpool, about recouping fees. That bit is based from the fact that the manager likes the lads. You know, Ings is a really good example. I think he'd probably be more eager to get rid of Origi than Ings, even though I actually think Origi might be a slightly better player. But you get the impression that the manager will be fine with having Ings around the place. So if it doesn't come together, it doesn't come together.
Look, I think Liverpool has spent a lot of money this summer, and there will be, you know, a desire, if you like, to get some of that back. I just think they're just holding firm at the moment, and they're just saying these are the prices, if you want it, pay it, and I think that's quite clever. I think for a couple of them, they might have to waver a little bit. There's already talk on Miguel that they might have to rethink because his stock seemingly isn't that high at the moment. I'm a little bit surprised. I'd have thought someone would have took a punt on him. I don't think he's a bad keeper at all, but you know, it's kind of not happening. But for others, I think they feel like, you know, for someone like Danny Ings, that there'll be plenty of clubs out there for him. So name the price if, and also you need to remember for a few of them, the European transfer window's later, isn't it? So I think you'd imagine Ings would go to the Premier League, but for the likes of Origi or whatever, we can still sell him up to the end of August, and so that allows you a little bit more time as well.
Do you think we can benefit from? I think we've been really well planned this summer. There's a good Miguel Delaney article on the Independent where he's written about the fact that the shift of the transfer window date, and he thinks it's a bad thing. Rory Smith's debated it a little bit on Twitter. I broadly speaking think it is a good thing. I think doing it in a World Cup year has been a bit mad, but I think we can benefit from the fact that we're better organised, we're better planned than a lot of these other sides, or we're in a position we've got so much greater strength than a lot of these other sides that right now, Danny Ings, you know, he looks like you can understand why Palace or Southampton or another side would think, you know what, let's do this for 20 million quid.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a really busy weekend. Like Liverpool are saying they're done. They might try and get one more, and there might be another twist in the tail, but Liverpool are saying they're done, and if they are, then fair play. You know, they've got everyone done. You know, Fabinho was signed before we even got home from Kiev. You know, that's how early that was. And so, yeah, they're in a good position, and I think there's a lot of other clubs who are going to be like, you know, I think Pochettino said he doesn't know how many players. They haven't bought anyone yet. He said we might buy 2, 3, 4. We might not buy anyone. You know, there's a bit of uncertainty going round, and whether it's worked or not in terms of transfer window, we'll have to wait and see. I think the first test will be if a big European club comes in for a Premier League player and is told our transfer window's closed, and they get told, well, we don't care. Yeah. And then what happens then? I think that'll be the first test, but right now Liverpool are looking all right.
Liverpool are looking all right. They're playing Napoli tomorrow, which will be a really interesting game. It'll be the first time we'll get to see Alisson. I think we'll probably get to see Naby Keita tomorrow. I think I really enjoyed it last year at the Aviva. Last year it was Bilbao, and it was nice to see a few of those lads, but you also got to see things like, for instance, Moreno at left back, Milner back in midfield. There were bits and pieces last season when it was the week before the season was going to start where you were like, okay, didn't quite think we'd get this committed at this stage, and I think there might be a bit of that tomorrow.
Yeah, you're looking for clues, aren't you? You know, in those first games in pre-season, it's you can't really tell much in terms of team shape, in terms of, you know, when you've got the Chirivella playing centre half, you know what I mean? You can't really look too much kind of, you know, into that, but I think these last 2 games you will be able to see clues in terms of, okay, who's he looking for? I think his first choice midfield interesting to me. I think obviously Henderson hasn't featured at all yet, so is he going to look for Fabinho, Keita, and then one more, maybe Milner? I don't know, so it'll be interesting to see if those three, who's going to partner Van Dijk, looking for little clues there as well. Is he going to stick with Camacho right back, and is that going to be something that he maybe tries to go into in the start of the season? Hello, Dan Austin. And so, that's what I'm going to be looking out for, little clues into what kind of team he's going to be picking next week in that first game against West Ham.
Just on that, I think that you can begin to sort of drill down into it. It's quite interesting. You can say it will be Alisson in goal, it will be Van Dijk at centre-half, it will be Robertson at left-back, it will be Fabinho, it will be Keita, it will be Mane, it will be Salah. Yeah. The positions that are up for grabs are who starts the first game at centre-forward. Yeah. All things being equal, it would normally be Firmino, it might not be. It's who's in that midfield, it's who's the centre-half partner for Van Dijk, and it's who's going to play at right-back. What I think is dead interesting is I think that if Klavan was a right-sided centre-half, I don't think this would be a discussion. I think it would be Klavan's going to play right-hand-sided centre-half, presuming Matip's not back. I think Van Dijk likes to play on the left. And I think he's got this thing that he'd like to play Van Dijk on the left. He'd like to play Gomez. So he'd like to play someone there. If it was Klavan, as I say, I think it would just be Klavan. But he might then go with Gomez. But then he might be thinking about Camacho or someone else at right back. And I don't think he'd want to go Gomez and Camacho next to each other, is what I'm saying. I think if it was Camacho, Klavan, Van Dijk, Robertson, I think he'd do that. Do you know what I mean? I think this is what's in his head, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he's got a few, he's got a few twists and he's got a few things that he needs to think about, hasn't he? And we're just going to have to wait and see. And as I said before, look for clues in these games. I think it'll be a case of seeing how sharp these lads come back, because we haven't seen Firmino yet at all, as you said. We haven't seen Trent at all. If they will feature at some point in these two games, and if they come back absolutely flying, and Firmino, for example, he looks terrific, he's ready to go, he gets his goal, he might just think, I'll just throw him in. Yep. Same with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But if they are looking like they need a little bit longer and Danny Sturridge bags again, then I think that there's a place there for him, and I think he feels like that as well. I think he thinks that there's an opportunity here for me to really stake my claim, and these last two friendlies are then going into West Ham, and then if the shirts is and he's playing well, then who knows? Last
little thing is that there's this friendly against Napoli and there's this one against Torino. It's interesting today, John, Liverpool have talked about having a bit of a fans day, a bit of a festival day around that game against Torino. I wonder if that is off the back of what's happened in the United States, and they've seen it as an opportunity, summer holidays, to get stuck in.
I think it almost certainly will be, and it was notable when I spoke to Jürgen in the mixer and he brought up the fact that, I know we've had a little bit of, stick from back home saying, why can't you do this in America? So they're obviously, why can't you do what you've done in America back in Liverpool? So they're obviously conscious of, the reaction that people are saying, oh, look, that's great that you're doing it for the American fans, but kind of, it'd be nice if you could do something similar. So I think they are going to do stuff. I don't know how much details, just kind of a bit of, I've already seen.
There's not a ton yet, no.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like one, if you are going to Torino and you are taking your kids to get down early, and it looks like it's going to be more relaxed there, hopefully play a sign and things and a few pictures, and just wishing everyone well for the new season. I can't wait,
Can't you wait for the season?
I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. I think we're going to be brilliant.
I think we're going to be brilliant as well. Absolutely in love with the idea that the Reds are going to be mustered again. It should be a phenomenal campaign. You can get it all with us at the Anfield Wrap. Today, right now in Liverpool, Paul Senior is recording for us Gutter and European show. Dan Austin was down to be on it. I forgot to tell Paul that he wasn't. Sorry, Paul. Literally forgot what with him being here. Sorry, Paul. Really poor form. All the other ones are sorted, but Dan Austin I just didn't at all because he was coming here.
You have to get a move on, Dan.
There was no email trail, so it completely confused me. But sorry about that, Paul, but he'll be doing a fantastic job getting those shows for you. They'll be out today. We're going to go and do City Talk in a minute, so we're going to get that sorted from Dublin, and that'll be out for listeners all the way around the world. There was some fantastic stuff yesterday that went out as well. We did our first Friday show of the season. That was a pleasure to do, to be quite honest with you, looking ahead to the season to come. We had our fantasy football show. We've got all the bits and pieces coming to you thick and fast over the weekend, and we'll be doing a post-match show tomorrow after the game against Napoli, and just getting bits around the game, I think.
Don't think I didn't notice you on your fantasy football spreadsheet on the bus to Dublin.
Absolutely, lads.
It was thought I was asleep, and I was for most of it.
He was asleep. It's a lot of work, that spreadsheet.
Tell you what, I was taking notes on my hand.
Excellent stuff. You're allowed. We're in different leagues. Other thing I just want to give a shout out to on this YouTube channel. If you only watch Talking Reds, there's a really, really good documentary from Gareth Roberts, Sam Walker-Dine worked on. The pair of them pulled together this thing about the psychology of penalties. It's really worth watching. The little mind games theme, and it's part of the increasing amount of video we're looking to do with the Anfield Wrap. Not just in locations like this, though. If we can have the top floor of the confession box as our studio going forward, that would be marvellous.
Oh, the Guinness we get through. through.
Oh, yeah. We'll get through it all now. Listen, it's been Talking Reds, Neil Atkinson, John Gibbons. Come and see us tonight if you can. If you are coming, we're going to have a fantastic time. It's our last show of the tour. Trust me, I am going to have to be dragged off that stage. See you in a bit.